Reverend Dr. Rodney Coles. We are here to bring information to the community, and today we have two special guests here with us. First, we're going to introduce the first guest with us, Chief Eric. Chief Eric, welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you, Pastor Coles.
All right. Now, we know that you have a whole lot that you're doing in the community as a fire rescue, and we wanted you to kind of first give us like the mission statement of the fire rescue. And I know that people think when they see a fire trucks, and we all have different things, and all you do is put up fire. That's all we know you are. Like, that's all you do is put up fire. But they don't know there's a whole lot behind fire and rescue.
Well, I would say that we have a professional mission statement that I won't try to recite here on air, but I'll tell you the gist of it is to provide emergency services to our community in a timely manner, and we do that with honor and respect of the people that we're serving.
All right. And some of the service that you provide, what is some of the service that you provide to the community?
Well, what most people know us for is our fire, EMS, which is emergency medical services, as well as rescue. We kind of do it all. We call ourselves an all hazards department. And what we say about that is that if it's something that law enforcement is not doing, most of the time you'll see your fire and rescue service providing that. But one of the services that most people don't know that we do, and one of the more important things, is provide education and prevention services throughout this entire community.
Now, talking about education, going back on that just a little bit, I remember that there's the clowns, with the children. Could you explain? I mean, I've seen it a few times at the library. Could you explain exactly what that is with the children and the puppet, I guess?
Yeah, what we call them are the educational clown team. They've been in place for several years. We've had some attrition to the team, but we also still have some of our cornerstone members of the team. What they do is they go out and they do a clown skit, and we do it in schools, sometimes in daycares, even sometimes at the local libraries. But the whole foundation of that is to provide fire prevention type of education, as well as teach people how to be safe during an emergency and what they need to do preparing for those emergencies.
Wow. We also have Miss Rebecca. Miss Rebecca, could you explain to us, what is your role?
So my very long title is Fire Life Safety Educator, Public Information Officer, but my main duty is community outreach and doing some of the things that we just talked about, the community education, making sure that the community has all the resources and knows what's available to them to make sure that their family and their home is safe. It's a large division that we have that takes called Life Safety Services. We've got the inspections division that goes out and does business inspections and make sure that the businesses and daycares are up to par, and making sure that when you're going out to these places that they're going to be safe for the public. And then there's me, and I have an intern or two, and we take care of the rest of it, and as well with the 161 other employees. It's a group role. I can't do it all on my own, and education, like Chief Griffin said, is just a really integral part of what we do.
Now, when you talk about the education part, we have people at the homes or the churches that don't have, we had a lot of church fires in different locations that took place. I mean, y'all come in to do a community forum, or would you come to the church and explain to them?
Yeah, absolutely. We've gone to a handful of churches, depending on who's going to be there. If it's specifically for a kids group, we can tailor the message for them. We've gone to churches and talked to like a senior program, and we've got different messages tailored for them, even about fall and fire prevention. And we've gone to just the congregation as a whole, and I believe Chief Griffin's done a handful of those talks as well, letting them know what services we have to offer them. Like he said, everybody knows that we're going to respond when you call 911, but there's lots of stuff we do before you call 911 to try to keep everybody safe too.
Okay. Chief, I'm going to ask you this question. What are some of the things that we need to know as, we all have homes or apartments, and, there's sometimes people turn on the gas with the boiling water to get steam in the house. What's some things that, you see that a lot of us probably can cause fires, and we don't realize it's causing fires in our homes?
Well, there are a number of things. What we like to tell people is to just make sure that you're doing things in a safe manner. So if you're going to have a open flame such as a candle, which we don't really promote the use of candles, but we know that people do have them in their homes, make sure that they are at least 3 feet away from anything that can burn. If you're going to have things in your house, if you're going to be cooking, for example, which is the number one cause of fires that we see here in the city of Greenville, is make sure you don't leave that pot on the stove unattended. And if you are going to be having kids around, make sure that you have the pots positioned on the stove properly so the kids don't go there and grab the pot that's hot and burn them. As well as make sure that you always have working smoke alarms on every level of your home and outside of every bedroom. They help to save more lives than any firefighter could ever save by having that working smoke alarm in your home. One other thing I do want to add to what Rebecca said is that, especially for the churches, we have seen that there's several churches that have small first responder teams inside their churches. They have participated with us. I know that Cornerstone Missionary Baptist Church has participated in the past years of having that first responder team. And I use Cornerstone because they had a real life example of where somebody started having a heart attack in church. The group was able to respond really quickly based on the training that Greenville Fire Rescue provided with hands-only CPR. It's one of the most cutting-edge types of techniques that we're using, that we're helping to save people. Cardiovascular disease is still the number one cause of death in people in our community. Last year, we had 84 cardiac arrest calls. We were able to help to save 32 people's lives. That was part of the community teams that was helping us. But if we can come out, be a part of the church, be a part of helping them to learn hands-on CPR and helping them to also learn what to do when the firefighters and paramedics arrive, we will be more than happy to come and participate in those type of initiatives in their church.
Wow, that's a whole lot that you just said in one breath. I don't know how you did that, Chief.
I was breathing.
Well,
It excites
say,
me.
man, because I'm thinking about what you're saying about first respond, where the churches, because most people they are in church and these things occur, fire, and the first respond. So this is a training that they can kind of connect with the Greenville Fire Department and see, when the class is available, or y'all will come out there and to do the respond training for them.
We will.
Okay. Because also you mentioned something about the smoke detector. I tell you, every time I cook, that thing goes off. So the wife said, just go pick up something, you just can't cook, that thing goes off. And we know that folks have them, but one of the things that, and that folks don't realize, and I think something that needs to be told, is when should they replace the battery? And I could tell you when we do ours, and maybe I'm doing something wrong, so I'm going to be quiet and let you tell, because I do have insurance, and they may see this. Well, I know why your place caught on fire. Pray to God it doesn't. But what are some of the things on the smoke detector that we should be looking at on replacing our batteries, or any kind of signs that we should be notifying to look for?
Now, it sounds like you're checking yours every time you cook. But what we recommend is that you at least check them once a month and change the batteries if you still have the battery operated type, to change those every 6 months. And also keep in mind there are newer smoke alarms out there that have a 10-year battery in them, so you can't change the battery. But we do recommend that you follow the manufacturer's recommendations and change those smoke alarms out every 10 years. And why I say that, because in most new homes who are required to have working smoke alarms, those smoke alarms go bad somewhere in about the 10-year range. You should be checking them once a month, but you also should be thinking about changing those type out at least every 10 years. And that sounds like a long time, but we know it can go by really quickly. Those smoke alarms are sniffing for smoke, sniffing for the elements of fire all day, every day. So they're working hard. They're getting dust and all types of particles inside those smoke alarms, so they do go bad. If you think that they're out of reach, for you to safely reach them, and you're here in the city of Greenville, just call our non-emergency number, and we'll be glad to send a truck out to come out and help you check those. Miss Rebecca will also kind of help you to coordinate that activity as well, and we'll give those numbers here at the end.
Wow. Ms. Rebecca, on a fire, I mean, is he just mentioned that you go out there to making sure that we got them in the right places? Because,
Yeah.
that is a key thing. We may have them in the wrong place.
Well,
And
so you said yours is near the kitchen.
mine's near the kitchen,
You-
so every time I
that's-
cook something.
Yeah, I think maybe that used to be something. A lot of fires do happen in the kitchen. However, you do tend to get those nuisance alarms where you're cooking, there's not a fire, and it's going off. So it's mostly we say to have them in the bedrooms and outside the bedrooms, so the hallways or any sleeping area. So sometimes we fall asleep on the couch watching TV. We need to have one in there, but not necessarily in the kitchen. Maybe outside the kitchen, because we don't want to get those nuisance alarms. Because I'm sure you, like many of us, have considered taking the batteries out because it keeps going off, and that's what we want to prevent from happening. We don't ever want you to take those batteries out because you never know when a fire could happen. People call all the time to get their smoke alarms fixed, or we can put up a new one for free for you if you live in the city, if you need some financial assistance. And they'll say, oh, well, you can come next week. It's not working, but I went ahead and took the batteries out, but I'm not going to have a fire the next week. And I always say, ma'am, how do you know? It could be any day. It could be any time. We never know when fire is going to break out. And, there's just so many things that can happen. And so I always say, let's try to do it today. So that's what we try to make sure that it happens the day that you call. We do have to run emergency calls, so the guys do stay pretty busy, but we try to make it a priority to get out there for you.
Now, I'm going to say something, and I'm quite sure that you both will probably agree. It's really important to, a fire can occur in any direction. It could be a wall fire, and it could be an electrical fire, that sometimes people feel that my cousin, Bubba, he's an electrician, and, it's easy just connect the ground and this, and he just follow the panel, and they not a licensed electrician. And being cheap could be expensive. I can tell you right now, you being cheap, you're gonna have your whole house caught on fire, and insurance is not gonna pay for it. Because they know to investigate these things and where these here. So I think that, and I'm putting it out there, that there may be folks who may have friends or families or whoever buddies or know them in the school. If you're not a licensed electrician, you should not be putting up no panel or any kind of electric in the house. I mean, what's your thoughts on that, Chief?
Well, we're going to always recommend that you have licensed and certified people working on any of your appliances or wiring or anything in the house. So it's good to have that reassurance that they are at least have been through some process to ensure that they're keeping you as safe as possible.
And I'm also want to talk about briefly about, there's some people that may don't have electric, and we just came through a little terrible weather. I think this is the first week I'm working for a whole 5 days coming up since the year came in. My calendar's all messed up now. But they use those propanes, and I'm scared of those propanes. When I see it, and I know that I think they're supposed to be for outdoors. I'm not 100% sure. What is the safe? Is there propane is something that I can put inside my house? I'm trying to save an electric bill, and I go buy the propane. I mean, I really know the education myself on that.
Well, I have seen more people using alternative types of fuels other than natural gas that we typically get through Greenville Utilities. I've seen people using more kerosene in these small portable heaters, as well as the propane, as you have said. One thing we want people to know is that those types of products are not designed to be used in closed, unventilated areas, and that's typically a home. Because they don't have, they're not used in conjunction with a working carbon monoxide detector, and not a lot of people have those unless you have some type of combustible gas in your home, which I'm grateful to Greenville Utilities that they require you to have those when they turn on your natural gas. But a carbon monoxide is a poisonous gas that you cannot smell. The smell that you smell when you smell natural gas is not carbon monoxide. That's another chemical that's added to the gas. Propane, it does not have the same type of chemical. And if it has a leak, more so than a leak, but if it's burning unclean is where the issue comes in with carbon monoxide. Fuel that's burning unclean produces carbon monoxide, which is colorless and odorless. So by the time you find out you have the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning, it's almost too late. And so we would say to people, don't use those type of portable units inside unventilated areas. Are they okay for outside, well-ventilated areas or outbuildings that you're not going to be in a long time? Maybe they'll be okay as long as they're not around combustibles. But using them in areas that's not recommended, they do cause problems. And we have seen those types of issues occur right here in our own city with people getting carbon monoxide poisoning, which is a very dangerous situation.
And it's just amazed that you said what you said, because I was always kind of skeptical of seeing people use it in their homes, and especially around Thanksgiving time, they're frying some turkey or something. You know, I mean, I never have fried turkey, but you know, that I see the demonstrations of that being taking place. But I just want to. I know you have a lot of service that you guys provide. I'm gonna come back to Miss Rebecca, so because we have about a good 10 minutes, and I want to make sure we get it all to the community. But I know one of the things is that be careful using those propanes out there. They should have a licensed, certified electrician. Make sure don't take that battery out of your. You know, when you're cooking that smoke detector, and they have new ones out here. So that's another thing to look at. And let me just ask a question since I'm on there. Do you have any programs that's helping those, let's say I don't have a smoke detector, and I'm coming to you, Ms. Rebecca, on that one?
Yes, we do. So if you live in the city limits and you don't have a smoke detector or smoke alarm, you can call us, and we will do what we can to make sure that you have one in your home.
Okay, and that's good to know. So what is a number that we have to contact to get up with the Greenville Fire Department? And let me ask you a question. We know you handle the whole Pitt County area, am I correct, or certain areas?
Just the city of
Just the
Greenville.
city of Greenville, okay. So in the city of Greenville, you handle, for those in the Greenville area, they just could contact you and y'all be able to walk them through that?
Right. So if you live in the city of Greenville and you need help with a smoke alarm, whether that's checking it to make sure it's working, if it's been beeping, or if you think that it's been more than 10 years since you last put that up, then give us a call and we'll come out and help you. We certainly don't want, if it's really up high, we don't want you climbing on any really tall ladders, trying to do any of that. So we can help you with that. You just have to call our phone number, which is 329-4390. Again, 329-4390. If you don't live in the city and you live out in the county, I would encourage you to call your fire department. Many of them in the area do have similar programs through a grant with the Office of the State Fire Marshal. And if they're not able to help you, you can give us a call and we'll see what we can do to try to make sure that we just want to make sure. We are so passionate about how important these smoke alarms are that we want to make sure we're doing whatever we can, and we'll try to hook you up with the right people.
And one thing I'll add to that is that service we provide is 24/7. Doesn't matter what time of day or night. We've got staff that is available to come out. We will come out at 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the other good thing about it is we don't negotiate on the price because it's free.
Wow. You can't beat that.
Can't beat free.
Can't beat that. Wow. And so 24 hours, we can make a call, and y'all can come anytime. Because say I'll get off of work at 10 o'clock at night. Y'all can come at 10:30.
We will be there.
Wow. One of the things I always thought that, which would have been good, is something that maybe just to throw a bug in the sky, that this should be a fire coalition, which we have everyone from the different areas, because there's things that we all can learn from all of y'all, the things you're doing. You know, something that, just kind of went to my head. I think when we sit at the table, we can find out what this county's doing, what they're not doing. Because in Greenville, we're doing a whole lot, and some of the other counties not doing it. And what happened? I get twisted, my arms in the back. Well, y'all can't help them over there because this is over here. So I'm just hoping that one time, or maybe somewhere, coming to thoughts that we can work with the other fire department. There's a lot of volunteer fire departments. People do volunteer work, and bring them all together where what services are provided in this area, what's there, and kind of look at that. And that's just something to throw out, nothing to talk about, but something to throw out in the air.
Well, I'll add a little bit to that. We do work with like Pitt County Council on Aging. One of the things that people don't realize, we've talked a lot about fire this morning, but one of the number one causes of death for people in the senior population is falls. It's the injuries that results from falls. And we have a program called Remembering One that we go out and we work with the senior agencies or senior population to teach them how to do things in their homes to prevent falls. that it causes a lot of issues. When we go to a person who has failed from an EMS perspective, we're making sure we're taking all the precautions to not only treat them and get them to the hospital, but also to look at things in their homes that are causing those falls, because we know that people that typically are aging, they're more susceptible to very traumatic injuries that many times result in death. We need to be, as a coalition, as a community, coming together to try to help to, those are preventable deaths. And if we can be a part of a preventable death, we're right there at the table.
Absolutely.
Wow. And I know we got about a few more minutes. I'm gonna make sure you have other programs that you may want to mention.
We have tons of programs. We've got a program for just about any and all ages. We have some really cool puppet shows and, like you said, clown shows for the younger kids. We've got some cooking safety, and we can teach CPR for some of those middle-aged kids or even adults. We could all sometimes use a little refresher. We can come out and do different trainings on fire extinguishers and, like I said, CPR. And like he said, the Remembering When program is a really great program that the NFPA developed with other agencies. And we are one of those partner agencies. And so it's just, it's exciting to go out into the community and work with folks. And ideally, they take away something that can help improve their safety in their life.
I think I may need to go for that cooking class. Learn how to cook.
Yeah, if that smoke alarm's going off, maybe.
It's always going off. And I think that the program that you guys offer means a lot. I mean, listen at the first respond that you guys offer, because learning the CPR and all these type of things that they need to know, especially at the churches. Because I think that a lot of times as pastors, been dealing with them now for 28 years, and it's like a lot of times we don't have that time to really go through the understanding, and we have to assign people to do these type of things, so to have it in the church, but also to have it in the community. And you also mentioned like you do it at the daycare, because we
Yes.
just don't know. I mean,
There are several, I think there are between 40 and 50 daycares in just Greenville. I mean, there are a lot of daycares. I had to look it up. It was one of our things we were trying to do, is to reach every daycare. And so I made a data list, and we have made it to, I think, 70 to 80% of them.
wow.
So-
And then you also have folks that's having their own home daycares, like they daycares in their home, so they are qualified. Even though you got one child, it doesn't matter. They can be qualified at least to come for this, to have your home get inspected and make sure you have a smoke
Absolutely.
detector on there. And I think that is really good to know. That a lot of times people look at the fire department and think, oh, they just do fire. That's all they don't realize that that's a whole lot underneath your sleeve you guys are doing.
Chief will know the actual percentage, but fire was only, 7% of what we did last year?
Yeah, well, actually, it's lower than that. Of the almost 18,000 calls that we had here in the city of Greenville, about 15,000 were EMS calls, and then only about 311 fires, which of those, that's only about 1.5% of our total call volume. That is something we're actually proud of. We want to see that number continue to go down, because we know every time we have to respond to a fire, someone's losing something or someone's getting hurt, and we want to work to try to eliminate that number. We're also, as I said, working to try to bring down that number of EMS calls we have. That is somewhat attributed to, we have a large medical community here in this area, and so we're participating with them as community partners to try to make sure we get them to the hospital in a timely manner. But fires, we're trying to bring that number down.
Well, I'm going to say you already done it. It's called preventing these things to happen with the service that you have. If you can give us the number one more time,
Absolutely.
so they can look into the camera, let them know who you are, Miss Rebecca, and give them your telephone number and how they get in contact with you.
Absolutely. So if you have any needs, that you need a home inspection or you need a smoke alarm, you can give us a call at 329-4390, and we'll be able to hook you up with whatever you need.
Well, we want to thank you for listening to and looking at the broadcast. As you heard, that we had that Greenville Fire and Rescue, the things that they do. They have a lot of different programs. For those who listen at this program, dial that number, 329 4390 on getting the information. We thank Chief Griffith for being here and Ms. Rebecca to be able to share this information with us. Listen, don't have a bobo get there fixing up your house or put some electric up there. That house gonna blow up. So you make sure you have people in there that know what they're doing, licensed contract. If you're not sure about your smoke detector, they will come there in 24 hours, and guess what? It don't cost you a dime but a phone call, and the phone call might be free as well. We thank you for listening to the broadcast. Please tune in to the next broadcast. Thank you.